Welcome back to the Torque Test channel. This is not a DeWalt tool that's currently out in the market, or even a DeWalt tool that has been announced or referenced to. And yet here it is in all of its chunky goodness. Well, let me explain. Nearly a year and a half ago now, we hinted at the existence of a future, quote, Project Honey Badger 2, a mid-torque impact we found on the UK DeWalt page registry that was then deleted. And we later got the DCF961 mid-torque. That thing is a beast, a top dog mid-torque. We also previewed a, quote, Project Bruiser 2 DCF900 high torque. That has more recently come out, and man, that's another brutally powerful high torque to top the charts. At the same time, well over a year ago now, we left this pinned comment about an even more undercover Project Ludicrous DCF961, a reliable source hinted at. I came away then with the assumption it would be either 3/4 inch or 1 inch drive as an impact goes. Now flash forward to this month, this popped up in a DeWalt Facebook group saying DCF961, showing an impact shape these eyes have never seen with specs like 1600 Newton meters, that's 1180 foot-pounds tightening, and saying 3/4 inch, but that's clearly a 1/2 inch anvil on there. This post was deleted that same day, but how does this guy have a tool not even announced yet? Maybe a field testing sample? We were unable to get in touch with this person, assuming they're still with us, but in our pursuit of it, with our feelers out there, we were able to, through back channels and after changing several hands to get here, get ourselves a couple days with this. Says DeWalt on the side, allegedly DCF961, Project Please Don't Sue Us Ludicrous. That definitely is 1/2 inch drive. And I'm here to tell you, it's got all the right stuff. So today we're going to torque test it because we only had an hour or two with it today, then rank it and maybe discover a hidden feature inside of it. And in our next video, we'll test it with every battery that might be paired with it in the future to see what it can do with those, and take it apart to see its insides, then analyze its battery dampening versus past models with a high-speed camera. Let's get into the specs you can figure out. The first thing you notice about this impact is it's both big and not big. Well, it's definitely big. It's about 8¼ inches long though, which is short for, I don't know, let's say compared to a DeWalt, for instance. The DCF900 being 8.8 inches, for example, but it's certainly got a Thor's hammer vibe sort of going on here. What's really groundbreaking about this would be that it's an all-new design. The DCF891, that mid-torque, looks like a DCF894. Performance is way different, but same sort of shell. And same goes for the DCF899 and 900, boringly similar and downright confusing to the average customer to figure out that there's a new model. This is totally new and different, even to the other high torques out there on the market. You'll notice some extra aluminum extending down here into the handle, which is also not something I've seen, usually just a sort of pin with holes inside to locate these two pieces. And you'll notice the kind of gravity this sort of design results in as soon as you pick it up. This thing is heavy. An M18 high torque is 5.9 pounds. The outgoing DCF899 DeWalt high torque is also about 5.9 pounds. The latest DCF900 is 6.46, thanks to mainly a new hammer assembly. This new guy, it's 7.78 pounds. 7.8 pounds. The Snap-on CT9050, which is the same 8.2 inch length and known for being chunky, is just 6.2 pounds. The larger CT9080 from Snap-on, that is sort of the chunk king, and that's 9.6 inches long, so that's, well, yeah, that weighs less, 6.7 pounds. So heavier and has a larger diameter usually means a bigger hammer, stiffer spring. It's got all the same push buttons that you'll see on some newer DeWalt models, even the timber screw mode that seems to behave in the way you'd expect from a DeWalt. And the top speed mode in particular sounds odd. A lot of air coming out of this one, like it's really working a fan, but not a lot of anvil speed. The latest DCF900 spins at about 2200 RPM, which is high, but still very high torquey as the specs go. This yellow example we happen to come upon, it's just 1200. 1200 RPM? That's the RPM of this thing. It sounds like maybe a bad spec to have, and for shorter time tests, maybe it is, but this means business. This is how I design a cordless high torque. Lower RPM indicates that it has been geared way down to be able to sufficiently drive what's got to be some hammer assembly up front. This size of brushless motor needing to be nearly twice as gear reduced as a DCF900 to run what's inside. Dang. On the lever end of what that spring is going to be shaking against, we see some serious battery damping designs. We'll try to take a closer look at this. But first, let's get into the beans, shall we? We test these things with 5 amp hour batteries because that's what comes with them in kits, but we have no idea what a tool like this would be sold with, so we're starting here, which makes for a good comparison to start out with, I think. Our first test is called Working Torque, 5 seconds and forward. Here's how the DCF900 high torque does over a Milwaukee 2767 as the baseline. .647 over 572, two real beasts at this sort of thing. Now with 1200 RPM, our new yellow friend we knew would be at a disadvantage in a 5-second test such as this. It's got some serious momentum to it. You can feel that even in free speed, but going to be hitting near half as often here. .644, that's pretty darn good. I'll take that. Let's hop into reverse though, 10 seconds of it to replicate a 50-plus-year-old impact testing standard called max torque. Here's the 900 in Milwaukee again. $799 from that DeWalt on top of $728. It's hard to impress upon you enough how much of a beast this 900 is. People might be watching this and saying, these are weak. My impact says 1300. Yeah, that's sort of what's written on the box. These are hard fought numbers here. Here's the shorter, chunkier, Ludicrous-ier model. Yes, in a very DeWalt sort of way, this thing is a handful and just popped off the bolt head. A very yellow tool thing to do. All right, here's this complete run. See if you can hear a difference kick in sort of midway through this run. Okay, so yes, 800 foot-pounds, barely topping the 900, all right. But that's not the story here. This thing has like a turbo mode that kicks in 4, maybe 5 seconds into impacting, or possibly once things are just that tight. Check this out. It's slow playing us. This is what caused the tool to jump off when we didn't anticipate this. You can see this on the dyno graph as well. Both in IPM and power in general just seem to pick up suddenly halfway through the run. I'm really curious if and when this model is on sale, if this is an advertised feature, something they programmed in as a hidden function, or if it's just a lucky byproduct of some sort of design. All right, on to our best case test, 15 seconds, enough time for the odd model to stretch its legs now. Let's see them all on screen. Yes, 947 with a standard 5 amp hour battery. Over 100 foot-pounds on top of the DCF 900. Slower hits means higher dynamic torque force per blow, which at the top end here is where each of those big hammer hits make significant progress over another faster tool's slight incremental but quicker hits. Now the keen-eyed among you might be like, wait, DCF 900 at just 830? Well, if you'll remember, the DCF 900 made its best numbers in forward, not all that rare, but a good difference in this model's case. Here's the best the 900 could manage in forward versus the sort of Thor hammer looking tool in reverse. Now this, even though it's showing versus reverse, makes it look closer than we think it really is. Check this out. Here's the new guy removing 970 foot-pounds on a reverse threaded bolt. So we're going forward here. Let's take a look. 8.3, 8.4 seconds. Well, actually, this is just the first bit of it because it gets sort of stuck and jammed here on the socket. So here's it doing just the rest of near 950 or so. I feel realistically this should be a 3/4 inch impact. Maybe that's what we'll ultimately see it come out as. This thing ties for the most rodeo bull-like wrist-breaking score we've ever given, a 9 out of 10, and that's because it very much behaves like other DeWALT's we've tested, just ratcheted up a bit. It's click-clackety as all heck, and a handful at times, especially at higher torque, and depending on how you hold it in a 6 to 12 o'clock angle orientation, it makes 30 to 30 foot-pounds more or less, like no other brands do. And a lot of what solves that, in our experience, would be a 3/4 inch drive. We might be at the very limit of what a 1/2 inch drive can do here, just in a handheld tool, as it's constantly trying to kill sockets, your arm, or I'd guess even that anvil. So if we do see this shape of an impact for sale in the future, curious to see what options it will have in drive size. Maybe there's unmarked 3/4 inch drive versions out there in the world floating around, who knows. For now though, we do have some stats, so let's rank this thing. We've done it before on question mark tools, so here it will just sit until we know for sure and we can buy a future model. It makes a stupid amount of torque and gets rewarded for that with 64, 80, and 95. It's only 8¼ inches long, which here that makes for 114.8 foot-pounds per inch of working length, a cordless record overall on the channel. So whoever made this tool, they have some sizable R&D budget, we'll say. Based on previous rumors and a Facebook post matching that, it very well may claim 1180 foot-pounds of tightening, so Ludicrous being above the bruiser here makes some sense. However, we don't know what battery they are going to require for this tool. Let's not forget the Bosch Profactor is up here, partly due to requiring a Profactor 8 amp hour battery. Maybe this will do similarly, their DCD998 drill does, so it would make some sense if they finally did it on an impact. Due to this could be around 84, or maybe we'll estimate up to 92 of advertised. We'll see once we get it back on the dyno, and same thing goes for pricing. We can only guess at that right now. Let's say it's between $350 to $399 for now. It would make sense if it costs more than a DCF900, being an all-new design. That would total between 485 and 495 points, possibly more, as these numbers could all go up as well, putting it solidly in first among every high torque ever. A model we can't buy, you can't buy, heck, you can't even get an image of this from the interwebs. It's the best thing since sliced bread somehow. If you have a strong right arm to not notice hefting this around all day. But that's sort of the beauty of it. This isn't made for all day use, in my opinion. You pull this out when things need to disintegrate. Do we need this kind of power? At times, yes. Yes, we do. Do you? That's up to you. But I certainly appreciate a design strategy that says to me, lug nuts are 33mm and crank bolts are only made by Honda and Freightliner. Leave the little stuff to the little guys. Not every high torque needs to be able to do it all. It's saying point me in the direction of what needs to come out, and it will be out. Appreciate you joining us for this one. We're going to get started on the remainder of testing for this, and we'll edit that as soon as possible. Click subscribe to follow along, and thanks for watching.